Well, it's your most famous duo, Owen Richards, James Ski. We're back, but this time for a new series called the LinkedIn Teardown. Owen, how's it going?
Yeah, good, James. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm happy to have
Good.
you back on the show. I feel like our Ant and Deck duo has been missing out of the software and London world for the last year.
Well, you've been so busy being a best-selling author, I've been left behind, haven't I?
I can actually genuinely see
I
that.
wondered how long that would take.
Like if you haven't seen it this week or last week, whenever it was, I made it into the best-selling list globally on Amazon. Really fun, but it's not about that today. It's about Owen. Um, this is called the LinkedIn Teardown for a reason, because we are going to bring up LinkedIn. We're going to bring up Owen Richards, and we're going to tear him down and understand where he is in his LinkedIn journey right now. So let's get straight into it. Right. Owen, I've known you for a few years. I recently was kindly invited to your 40th birthday, right?
Yeah.
Now I look at this photo, I look at this photo, and I'm trying to place them. When was this photo taken?
Probably 2 years ago.
Well, firstly, you haven't aged.
Well, that's
So
good. That's a good sign.
that doesn't look too bad. And I think it's a very sharp, very LinkedIn-esque profile. But you know, a more recent one is possible. What's the purpose of this photo here?
Oh, nothing more than making me happy, James. I think, if I'm honest, it's always been. I'm not one that's like, oh, your LinkedIn has to look like this and has to be a product. I've always seen it as I guess, more a reflection of me and my personality. That was the view from my very first house that I bought in Manly, Australia, which is where my sales career started. It's also an image that is on the wall in our office as well, and big wallpaper imagery in our office. So it means a lot to me. It's also my commute to my first sales job. I used to run along that beach.
Wow.
So there's a story behind it. The untrained eye would see and go, oh, it's a random beach, I know. But for me, it reminds me every time I go on to this, it reminds me of those sorts of memories. So there's nothing more than that. I'd have had the odd person go, oh, is that Manly Beach on there? And you get into a conversation, which is interesting. But that's all it is. It's been like that for 15 years.
Wow. So let's just cut to it, Owen, because you and I have known each other for probably like 5 years plus now. You know, hanging out in the industry, hosting events, co-hosting stuff like this. We've done webinars, we've done full day conferences on our feet. We've done some hard stuff together. And at times you have been prolific on LinkedIn. That's changed. And you know, considering everyone else I get on this show is like a LinkedIn wannabe creator or you know a major thought leader globally, I would argue you are absolutely an expert. You are a thought leader. Doesn't feel like you want to be a creator on LinkedIn anymore. What's happened?
Yeah, do you know, it's a really, really good point. And I'll try and explain the journey in words out loud, probably for the first time, in so much as I don't really talk about it very much, and much of it has just been organic rather than kind of a conscious decision. But reflecting on where I'm at with LinkedIn, I have absolutely not stopped entirely, but I'm not driven by LinkedIn from a business perspective, and I have stopped creating content that comes from me as an individual. So we use LinkedIn continually as a tool for our business, and my profile is one of those tools and one of those channels. But as you rightly said, 4 or 5 years ago, I'd have been posting certainly at least every other day. It's 4, 5, 6 times a week, sometimes twice a day, creative content, videos, stuff that was telling a story, stuff that let people into the business and into me as a person. And it was brilliant. Really played a big part in contributing to our business's growth and the growth of my personal brand. And those two things are so interlinked. The reality is, I think a lot of things have happened at the same time. One, I got really tired of it. So it is relentless, consistently creating content. I got tired of it. I ran out of steam. At a similar time, last year, we had a really difficult 3 to 6 month period in the business where the business was not performing as I would have liked it to perform. We had a couple of key people leave the business. There's a lot of stuff going on that wasn't necessarily positive, and I had some stuff going in my life outside of work that wasn't ultra positive as well. So I think when you're not feeling great about yourself, and we're all human, and done a lot of content in the past about mental health and speaking up about that sort of stuff, as have you. When you're not feeling great in yourself, I don't think the default authentic thing is to start creating positive content about things. And I'd run out of saying, this is hard, that's hard content. And I think everyone was looking for the positive story, yet inside I didn't necessarily feel like I had one. So probably 3 to 6 months, I lost the habit of posting on LinkedIn. And that was because it just didn't feel right. I didn't feel great in myself. And, you don't want to put yourself out there. And maybe that's the opposite of what I should have done. But again, I'm human. And that was, that probably was a conscious decision at the time. And then probably the third piece is that having got out of the habit of doing it, I went back for a period of time to start posting again and consciously made an effort. I just didn't feel right. I wasn't enjoying it. I felt pressure to be posting. I think the content on LinkedIn has dropped significantly in the last 3 to 5 years. The quality of content, on my feed at least, it's all the same. I don't feel like it's the same voices saying the same thing over and over again. I don't feel like there's much innovation on there. And it doesn't inspire me. It doesn't motivate me. And if anything, it brings the worst out of me because I feel this emotional pressure to be there and be present and try and outpost people, so to speak. And actually, I've realized it doesn't make me happy. It does not make me happy. I am happier when I've deleted LinkedIn from my phone. The app has gone. And I found myself at weekends checking LinkedIn when I've got my 3 kids in front of me and going, what on earth am I doing? Deleted the app. I haven't posted organically on LinkedIn other than scheduled posts that my marketing team are doing. And I'm involved in what the content is and creating the content, but I'm not in there hanging around on LinkedIn. I haven't done it for months and I'm happier for it. So, probably not everyone would agree with, and maybe it's controversial, but I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm done with LinkedIn. It's an incredibly powerful business tool, but I don't need to be there right now.
Do you know what? It feels like a load off your shoulders and my shoulders just hearing that. It's refreshing. And a few hundred people will check this out. I thought, you know what? I get upset that I don't have the reach of my message. And that's what the power of LinkedIn and these social media tools have. But that's also part of the problem. The best voices don't rise. Like this real conversation that we're having right now, that frankly, it's not about LinkedIn. It's about you as a human being and how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your business.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that really matters, but won't get the traction. And that's the problem with the LinkedIn algorithm. Part of the reason why I set up this show, the LinkedIn Teardown, is because LinkedIn has changed. Of course it has. And I'm looking for tactics, strategies to improve because of my ego says do more. But how many more thousands of followers? I mean, if we look at yours, you've got 14,000 followers. How many of those have you ever met in person or have you actually spoken to?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I wouldn't be able to guess. Probably, I don't know, probably a couple of thousand. I would say, but there's a lot on there that you haven't. I think the thing for me, you made a really good point there, James, is the noisy voices with absolutely, that's unfair to say absolutely, but some of the people I've met on the journey of running Air have been incredible on LinkedIn, and kudos to them for doing so. But when I've met them in person, I've been really underwhelmed by them, or I've done business with them and they've just not been the kind of people that you want to do business with. And I think, God, this is not the world I want to be in whatsoever. This is not where I want to be. But I think the biggest thing is that you've got to be happy, right? So I've realized that the key to growing my business and being successful is not LinkedIn, which may sound really silly to say it out loud, but there was absolutely a time where I was thinking LinkedIn is where I've got to be spending my time. do you know, I've got to be spending it with the people in the business. I've got to be building process. I've got to be, you know, got to be winning the right kind of business. And whilst LinkedIn can play a role in that, and it can contribute, and it has, and it will continue to do so, it's not where I need to be hanging out and spending my life.
Do you know that? So I agree, but I will still push back because I'm obviously the LinkedIn guy. And I would still say LinkedIn is still a phenomenal marketing channel. You personally just don't need to be there.
Yeah, and look, please don't misunderstand my point. This is about me and nobody else. What I'm not saying is that LinkedIn is an incredibly powerful platform. It is, but you have to want to do things, and you have to enjoy them for them to play a valuable role in your life. And there are many different avenues that you can take to your end goal. I'm not going to delete my LinkedIn profile and get rid of the value that's in there. And I'm not going to stop creating content. We still create content as a business, and I still create the content with the podcast and those sorts of things. But I'm not going to use my time when I could be spending it with my kids, when I could be doing something meaningful and impactful with my business, scrolling through LinkedIn for the sake of it, commenting on things for the sake of it, worrying about whether I have or haven't posted, worrying about what somebody else has posted, and how, you know, it's not making me happy. It does not make me happy. And what I've realized in the last 18 months to 24 months of dialing it down somewhat is that my business isn't less successful because I'm not there, or I'm not there as much. So this is a personal choice. But I think if anybody is out there sitting, feeling that emotional pressure of having to be on LinkedIn, to post and having to create, there's a choice. There are other ways to do it. It feels like I'm coming off a drug, doesn't it? I've got to stand up. And I've been addicted to LinkedIn for the last 8 years, and we're going to go around in a. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. So.
We've lost you. Owen Richards, are you coming back? This is the nature of going live. This is like live TV, isn't it, folks? We'll see if we can get him back to wrap up. If not, we'll just crack on with the day. Yeah, we've lost him. All right. Well, that was the LinkedIn teardown with Owen Richards. Thanks for listening. Let me know in the comments who else you would like to go on the show.